Everyone, welcome back to Daily Devotions. Pastor Steve here, walking with you in the fruit of the Spirit, the love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness. And goodness, that's sometimes substituted because it's interesting how it's goodness, used as a kind of a slant word, excitable word, sometimes in the place of God. Goodness, no. And within that, we get to understand that goodness, yes, is something that is together with God, as we've been learning. So the goodness of God to us, the goodness of God brings us the uprightness in our hearts, in our lives. The goodness of God is continuation of Scripture, of being able to say mercy and love, and goodness will surely follow us all the days of our lives. And within that, we pick up in Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5 kind of gives us a good and not so good picture. And as Jesus is talking on the Sermon on the Mount here, he's talking to his disciples. He just got done with the Beatitudes. We're going to cover that in this next weekend. So come to service and listen to a message about that. But being able to come right out of the Beatitudes, then he kind of just gets more descriptive towards his disciples, especially about what's good and what's not, but really the goodness of what being a disciple looks like. So Matthew chapter 5, beginning at verse 13. Well-known verses, but hopefully you see this more around the goodness of God rather than just the disciplines of being a disciple. Verse 13 of chapter 5, the Gospel of Matthew. Let's read together. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled by men. The very basic reality of what does salt used for? We get into a detailed exegetical study in these words of being able to say, well, the salt is actually back then made for preservation. Packed around meat. Didn't have refrigeration systems back then, so it's packed around meat so that it would keep for some time. But it gives flavor. And so within these two aspects, if it loses its saltiness, if it loses its way of preservation, or frankly its flavor, then what's the use of it, right? But you are the salt of the earth. If you lose your flavor or your purpose, and the purpose is to be able to walk in the goodness, the uprightness of heart and life, to be able to walk faithfully with your God, and love others. If you lose your purpose, what good are you? It says. Verse 14, you are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden, neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your goodness, that they may see your good deeds, and praise your Father in heaven. Now, why would they praise your Father in heaven? Because your good deeds give glory that just has that funnel all the way back up to the glory of God. When we live as the light of the world, you are the light of the world. There's a stand in a house that actually would give light to the whole house because they didn't have light switches back then. They had candles, or they had a light source, and they put it in the middle of the house, and it would shine so that the whole house could actually do their purposes, whether it be fix the meal, whether it be reading to their or telling stories to their children, being able to say the light in the house is really purposeful. So you are the light of the world. You wouldn't put it under a bowl. You wouldn't siphon that. You wouldn't take that away, darken that light, because then it would be night. The only purpose of night is to go to sleep. But no, the purpose of being the light of the world is so that, let it shine. Let it shine. Stand up on a stand. Let it shine to the people around you. Excuse me. Let it shine to the people around you. So what? So that they may see your goodness, your uprightness of heart and life, for the purpose that you have the uprightness of heart and life, the gift that you've been given as the goodness of the fruit of the Spirit, so that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven. Our good deeds are not of our own. Our good deeds are of the Spirit. Our goodness is from the Spirit of God. And the Spirit of God gives us that, overflows that in our lives, so that, do that around men, do that around women, do that around your neighbors, do that around your children, so that they can see your uprightness of heart and life, the continuation of life, not just one part of your life, but all of your life. They could see your goodness, they could see your good deeds, and understand who your Father is. Give praise to your Father, because that's what you're going to be able to voice too. Say, man, why are you doing this good thing? Why are you such a good person? Well, I'm not a good person. Jesus even said that. Why do you call me good? There's only one good, and that is the Father. But when we do the goodness of God in our lives, when we do the good deeds, when we walk according to our purposes, our uprightness of heart and life, when we walk by the Spirit and not by flesh, as Galatians 5 would say, we're directing people towards a source. We're living with the purpose that we've been intended and called to give praise to our Father in heaven. Because the Father in heaven was so good to us and so purposeful to us in sending his Son, Jesus Christ. And he was so good to us and purposeful to say, I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm going to send a helper. And it's called the Spirit of God. And the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness. Goodness in our life by the Spirit, so that the Father will be praised through what we do. Yes, we receive appreciation, we receive accolades, but may the appreciation accolades be redirected not from us, but rather be the purpose that we are the salt and the light of the world, that we can do good things, but only according to a good Father. And so, brothers and sisters, walk in your purpose. Give flavor to this world, and the flavor is the greatness of the gospel. Give light, shine your light, so that the people around you will see not just your good deeds, but through your good deeds, they'll see a good Father. A Father that loved you so much, a Father that is with you wherever you go, a Father that sends his Son, Jesus Christ, and says, I am with you always. A Son, Jesus Christ, that sends you the Spirit and says he's going to be the counselor, he's going to be the helper. He's going to call you by the gospel. He's going to enlighten you with his gifts. He's going to sanctify. He's going to make you holy and keep you in the one true faith. How good and gracious that is. You have a good Father who sent his Son, who sent his Spirit, so we can do the good in this world to the praise and glory of our Father in heaven. Brothers and sisters, have a great day being the salt and the light of this world, according to the gospel. But have a great day living by the Spirit, having that uprightness of heart and life, and living out the goodness of God. Have a blessed day.